Hey everyone, review for Volume 4 of Bakuman. So, at the end of Volume 3, Mashiro was thinking it would be better for him to work on becoming a mangaka alone, because he thinks Takeshi is not up for it. He's busy hanging out with his girlfriend Miyoshi. They're not doing coming up with storyboards. So at the beginning of Volume 4, Mashiro tells Takeshi that he wants to do it alone now. He doesn't want his help, so they break up as a team. And each of them separately, without telling each other, both come up with ideas of creating a detective manga. Mashiro got the idea because he was inspired by how Eiji Nezuma created his hit manga called Crow. From when Eiji Nezuma was a kid, he created a manga and used that character idea to create his hit series. So Mashiro went back home, went through his stuff, and so as a kid he drew some kind of a detective-like manga. So he thought, why don't I try this? Takeshi, on the other hand, he was with Miyoshi when he came up with the idea of doing a detective manga, and he was helping Miyoshi write up I think a phone story or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But as he was helping her, he saw that stories have different categories like comedy, horror, and he saw mystery. So he said, let's do a detective manga. So they're working separately, and they informed their editor, Hattori, and Hattori thinks it's a good idea that they're working separately, and he knows that they're both working on a detective manga, but they're working separately. And Hattori was always telling them that they're too young, that they should work on enhancing their story, like creating better artwork and better artwork, and that in a few years after they graduate from high school, that's when they should start creating mangas. But obviously Mashiro and Takeshi don't want to wait. They just want to create a series now. So Hattori thinks it's a good idea they're working separately and don't know. He wants them to work separately until they graduate, and then tell them that, oh, he thought of a detective manga as well. Why don't you work together again? But that's what Hattori thought, but due to some development and due to development and Miyoshi keep pushing Takeshi and Mashiro to work together, they work together, and they find out that they both wanted to do detective manga. So they came up with an idea to surprise Hattori that they would work on I think a one-shot. They were thinking of doing it. Create a one-shot of a detective manga, and both surprise Hattori, showing that they both work together rather than separately. So that happened, and they created a one-shot. And Hattori came up with an idea that, well, he actually came up with the idea because he saw that this one-shot that they created was so good. The artwork was incredible, the storyline was great. So he said, I got an idea for the next serialization meeting. It's where, as I said before, where the chief editor, deputy chief editor, and all the captain of the teams of editors meet, and they decide which series to end, which one to start in Weekly Shonen Jump. So for the next meeting, Hattori came up with an idea. Says, I'm going to put forward your manga for serialization, but because you're in school, you're in high school, I think at this time, high school, they won't look lightly on this. Eiji Nezuma is a genius. That's just one thing, you see, but you guys aren't exactly geniuses. You have to work together to create a great manga like this. So Hattori comes up with an idea saying, why don't you create a chapter every 2 weeks? If you can do that, then when my captain takes this to the meeting, he will show all the other captains, the deputy, the chief editor, that you have that much resolve and that you can do it every 2 weeks. So doing it once a week shouldn't be that much of a push if you can do it every 2 weeks. So that's what they had in mind, and this is what they want to do. But Hattori also says if you can win the Gold Future Cup as well, then that's it, you know, you're almost guaranteed, almost. So that's what they were planning. The story goes on, and Mashiro and Takagi, they meet the other teams, or their rivals. As you already know, there's Eiji Nizuma, but they don't meet right away. Well, they've met in the last volume. They meet also another rival, another two rivals. The writer was Aoki, called Aoki, and the artist is Nakai. You met Nakai in volume 3. He was the assistant of Eiji Nizuma. And they're creating a manga called Hideout Door for the Gold Future Cup. And obviously, their manga will be put forward to the Serialization for serialization. Also Fukuda, who was also, well, and is also an assistant of Eiji Nizuma. This one right on Fukuda here. Yeah, I can't remember the name of his manga, but it was quite violent, or very violent, but it's not violent enough, and art was kind of old school, not old school, oh, yeah, say old school. But, everything was fine. Each of them were working on their one-shots for the Gold Future Cup until they heard that an idol called Koji was going to start becoming a mangaka. So, and he was going to enter his manga, which was called Color Fusical, into the Gold Future Cup. Of course, he's an idol, and he already has fans from his other, you know, which made him an idol. He's a singer, among other things. But Fukuda, even Eiji Nizuma, Takagi, Mashiro, Kaoki, and Nakai, they all thought that this is unfair, you know. So they form a team called Team Fukuda, and they, well, not stormed. They went to the office, and they just wanted to argue their case, say that this is unfair. You know, he's using his fans, and they'll vote for him to win the Gold Future Cup. And the editors say, you can't do anything, it's out of our hands, obviously. And Mashiro realizes something as these people are arguing with their editors and the captains and etc. And he says that, Mashiro says, all we have to do is win. He's saying that if we create a good manga, then even if they're fans, they realize our manga is better than his, and they'll vote for us. And everyone else, well, they finally agree. Team Fukuda agrees with Mashiro, and they leave peacefully. But they also thought that to beat this Koji, to better enhance their manga, they should give each other their mangas to evaluate and give ideas to, you know, to advance and make it better. So every week there was a new one-shot, and finally the result for the Gold Future Cup was released, and there were two winners. The winners were Mashiro and Takagi, Muto Ashiguri, Shirogi, sorry, and Fukuda. He also won as well. So there were two winners, and of course Mashiro and Takagi were really happy. And then, of course, there was a little bit where Miho was kind of happy and all that, because Mashiro told him. And at the end of, well, towards the end, they had the serialization meeting, and in the end, Takagi and Mashiro managed to get a series. So Detective Trap was going to be serialized, and they're so happy. Of course, that was their dream, to get serialized, and then to create a manga, anime. Sorry, anime. So towards the end of this volume, Hattori arranges a meeting to meet them at their studio to organize and go over details of a contract they have to sign to say that that they won't create manga for any other magazine, etc., etc. And yeah, that's it for their side. Miho, as you see on the front cover, Miho, that's the girl that Mashiro has a crush on. During this volume, you find out that she's done quite well. She's got she's now a voice actress of a manga. She's done an ending of a video where she had to dance and sing. So during this story, they're congratulating each other, Miho and Mashiro. And yeah, that's basically how it ends. Just flick through it. Here it is. Here, Mashiro is saying, I'm going to do manga on my own from now on. So this is when they break up. On the way to school. I think on the way to school, yeah. This is Hachiro meeting Mashiro alone and discussing his idea of doing a detective manga. Here's Takeshi's turn. This is when I think this is when they join together again. Yep. And this is their character idea for their, I don't know if you can see it, character idea for their manga detective trap. This is when Team Fukuda storm the editorial department office to complain about Koji's announcement saying that he's going to become a manga artist and be entered to the Cold Future Cup tournament or competition. That's his color musical that Koji, the idol, created. See, this is when they received the news that they got serialized. We got a series, yay! Of course, Eiji Nizuma is happy because he considers Takeshi and Mashiro his greatest rivals. So yeah, thanks for watching. I get down to volume 5 sometime next week.